Live from the capital city of St. John's, this is Antigua Barbuda Today.
Inaugurated on 19th November 1999, International Men's Day marks a milestone today. It is the 20th anniversary. During the past 20 years, through its global and regional coordinators, International Men's Day has facilitated global dialogue on creating a nurturing and empowering world for men and boys. The website of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, where Dr. Tilok Singh is a lecturer, states that he focuses on the history of Afro-Caribbean activists and intellectuals, on Indo-Caribbean diaspora in North America, on Pan-Africanism, on race, gender and ethnic relations in the Caribbean, as well as the labor history and the impact of Carnival and Calypso on Trinidad and Tobago's society. This morning we're pleased to be speaking with Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh out of Trinidad and Tobago, founder of International Men's Day. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you and all your listeners in the Caribbean and abroad.
All right, great. We know you had to do some rearranging to your commuting schedule this morning, so happy that you were able to join us. All right, if you could go back to the genesis of International Men's Day, Doctor, would you tell us what was the impetus behind it?
Two reasons I started it up, and firstly, on the 19th of November 1989, Trinidad and Tobago football team decided that we had to play United States, and we lost 0-1 to United States, but it created unity in my country. It crossed gender, class, religious, ethnic barriers, and everyone came together, men, women, children, and I felt we needed to recreate that day on the 19th of November. It is also the birthday of my dad, who is still alive, and he's a role model, not just for me and my family, but for the rest of the community. So those are the two reasons. That special day of football for Trinidad and Tobago's football team, where we lost, but it created unity in the country, and I wanted to recreate that unity for future years and to also spread that unity to other countries. I've also noticed that our men are ostracized, alienated, they're stereotyped. Men are seen as violent, aggressive. Young boys are always seen as being the bullies. So I don't want to show men now as victims, but I want to promote gender equality. I want to rewrite gender narratives, and I want to show good men, positive values of our men.
All right. And from your perspective, what are the main issues with which men contend today?
Some of the main issues include poverty, homelessness, we have drug addictions, we have men who suffer from depression, other mental disorders such as being bipolar. We have men who are suffering from Alzheimer's, the older men. So we have men who are in need of physical care, men who need chemotherapy, men who are afraid to go for annual checkups to prevent prostate cancer because they might feel humiliated for the exam. So we are looking at men who are in need of help emotionally, physically, spiritually. We need to try to create holistic men. And we also face a situation where some men in the homes, they are feeling emasculated because their wives or girlfriends are earning more money than them. So there's a shift in gender roles that we also need to discuss.
You talked about closing the gender divide and rewriting gender narratives. Now, apart from the economic perspective, which you just mentioned, what are the other causes of the gender disparity?
Gender disparity could also be seen in the political domain, where more women are becoming more involved in politics, and men now have to step up to their game, right? We are also seeing a lot of court cases where the judges and the juries are giving custody of the children after divorce or separation to the women. And this is making many of the men more aggressive and feeling that they are given the bad end of the stick, so that in the legal fraternity, we are seeing it, we are political domain and also in education, where there's an increasing number of male underachievers. We are seeing more women in the Caribbean, especially in my country, winning scholarships, becoming CEOs, opening companies, so that women are achieving more. Look at our universities in the Caribbean. There are more female graduates, so that the men are behind and they need to step up to their game.
A professor of history. What do you think has been the major role in our Indo-Caribbean or Afro-Caribbean history, and what currently persists with men in the region?
Pardon me, you could repeat that question.
Speaking of the historical perspective, what do you think our role of the history of Indo-Caribbean men, Afro-Caribbean men, or historical development, how big a role do you think that has played on what currently persists with us?
I think it has played a major role because slavery destroyed the family of enslaved and free Africans. During the denticship, there was a lot of oppression and exploitation. Both labor systems, and not just slavery and denticship, but also the native Indians, First Peoples. When the Europeans came, there was this genocide. So that our history, Caribbean history, has been one of suffering, exploitation, marginalization, oppression, and as a result, we have had revolts and revolutions. It has portrayed men as aggressive, men as disruptive, and we need to see how we could move from the past, how we could create a better future. But I see a lot of the present still being rooted in the past. That trauma that has reflected in our past is still continuing today. It's still affecting men and our families. Difficult to...
All right, now tell us from where you sit, how do you think we can combat most of the major issues plaguing men in the region?
There are many ways we could fight this problem, and some of the ways include having more counselors, more therapists in our primary and secondary schools. We cannot boast of having modern classrooms and technology, and our children need psychological and emotional counseling. We need more counselors. We need mobile caravans where psychologists, therapists, psychiatrists could go into rural communities, could go into villages and help men who need assistance. We need also to encourage governments to find ways to provide funding for men who might need treatment for diabetes, prostate cancer, high blood pressure, depression. And finally, and more importantly, we need the media, like your radio station, we need television and newspapers to help educate our men about the importance of their roles and responsibilities in society. Our men have always been protectors. We have guided society. We have been leaders, and we need to understand our roles and responsibilities. The media has a very important role in re-educating, re-socializing our Caribbean men.
All right. Now, of course, we in Antigua are very proud of your accomplishments, having initiated the day, and proud to see how it's taken off. Now, it's been 20 years on. How satisfied are you with the progress that's been made over the last 20 years?
I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy to see that it has spread. It has maintained its grassroots contact. It has always been a grassroots movement dealing with the people. I'm a bit disappointed that it has not been recognized officially by the United Nations. It is not on the UN calendar, and I'm hoping that my government or another government will take this matter to the UN, the United Nations, to be voted on. But I'm very happy to see that countless lives of men and boys have been touched. Many emotional scars have been healed. Many psychological wounds are being healed, and men are given a safe space on Men's Day to speak. We are creating identity. We are now seeing the Caribbean man being more responsible and seeing him from a different perspective. So I'm very delighted.
Now, what would be your message, Dr. Tiluk Singh, for the young male coming up, progressing through society? What would be your message to him?
The young male in society must realize that clothes music, culture, they are superficial definitions of masculinity. To be a real man, to be a genuine man, you must have certain virtues and values. You must have certain morals and ethics that will make you a positive role model. Our young Caribbean males and males throughout the world must realize that they need values such as bravery, honesty, empathy, friendliness, transparency. They must be willing to work to improve humanity. It is not just about the men. Our men must be united. There must be solidarity before we become united with women. And our men, our young males must realize that true masculinity, real masculinity, is not something that is exterior. It is not type of clothes you wear, or the type of alcohol you drink, or how many cigarettes, or brand name clothes. It's about something that is inside you. Value, something you cannot go in the grocery and buy. You cannot take a loan from the bank and buy. It is your upbringing. And it's important for the next generation. So young Caribbean men, they are paving a way, they are building a foundation for the rest of the 21st century and the next century.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Now, to end the interview, what would be your ideal way to celebrate a day like today, International Men's Day?
I think an ideal day for me would be to be with my dad for his birthday, and an ideal day for anyone would be trying to reflect on the positive men and boys in your life. Sons, nephews, grandfathers, uncles, stepfathers, cousins, reflecting on men who have imbued, who have passed on positive values and knowledges, men who have molded and guided us. And we also have to remember that each one of us is a positive role model. Each one of us can be a role model. You do not need a certificate from the university. You don't need any sort of program. Once you live proper life and you obey the laws of your country, you will certainly be a role model. So I think this day is a day when you should try to spend with someone who you value, a male figure, or try and go out and encourage somebody to be on the correct path of life.
Look, saying apologies for not introducing myself at the start. My name is Ursel Charles Jr. and on behalf of ABS, thank you so much for spending this part of your morning with us. As I said, we embrace you as a Caribbean national who would have touted for this day to become recognized worldwide, and so we applaud your efforts.
I am honored to be here, and I want to thank you, and I hope that we could have another chat sometime in the future.
Indeed, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with Dr. Jerome Tilok Singh, who is the founder of International Men's Day. He did so some 20 years ago today out of Trinidad and Tobago. It's International Men's Day. Show love to a man today. Now, it's time for the